I'd like to introduce Rob Kasheta, who is an Air Force veteran.
Yes.
And Rob, what happened to you?
Well, I would say it was from personal problems, relationships, and dealing with trying to, I don't know, be in a relationship that just didn't work out for me. And after that, I kind of spiraled downhill.
Let's talk a little bit. Let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about. I know that when you were in the Air Force, you worked as a nuclear
Specialist. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
not a whole lot of call for that in the civilian world, is there?
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm assuming that when you got out of the service and transitioned into the civilian world, you had some adjustment problems.
Yeah, really hard. It was really hard. I was lucky that I worked at Lockheed for a little bit, and I was lucky to find that job. It was an electrical installer job, and that was, really, I had a little bit of skill in that area, but I was really lucky to get that job, and that really helped me.
So after you left Lockheed,
After I left Lockheed, I was a correctional officer for a little bit up in Atascadero, in California Men's Colony, and that was the job I really just didn't like the job. There are many jobs that I was doing that I didn't like, but I really didn't like the job, and that's where I met a woman and I had a personal relationship, and the relationship didn't work out. That's where my life just kind of spiraled down.
and because the relationship didn't work out the way you had hoped,
Right.
you turned to alcohol?
Well, it wasn't alcohol so much. It was more like, little drugs, speed and things like that. But I never had the drugs in the position of that was dominating. It was more the relationship and more the dealing with the relationship and just going out, just forget about the world, forget about everybody else, and I'm just going to drop out of the world and just do my own thing out there.
So you actually became self-isolated.
Yes, exactly.
Too difficult for you to deal with that loss of that relationship.
Yes, I would think so. That would be pretty much.
Okay, so once you saw yourself kind of spiraling downward, what compels you, what made you realize that you needed help and that you needed a place like U.S. Vets?
Well, the funny thing about U.S. Vets, like you said, you start thinking about yourself, and you really start thinking about the way other people perceive you. And, when you're in that position, people kind of avoid you. They see you coming down the street and things like that. And you try to go to public places, and, they just kind of avoid you. And it kind of makes you look at yourself like, what's wrong? What I need. And U.S. Vets, I didn't even know about this place. And I used to be right around the corner going to this park, JFK Park, right around the corner. I used to go there, and I used to sit there. And one day I was just walking down the street, and I had my bicycle and my bags full of clothes, got everything I owned in it, And Richard Burley, he's the outreach coordinator, homeless director here, and he's just driving down the street, and he just beeps his horn, and he says, "Hey, I can help you if you want some help," And he just drives a little bit further, and he spins around, comes back around, gets out of his truck, and starts talking to me. I told him I was a veteran, and he told me there's a place right around the corner, but you gotta wanna come, because I'm not going to force you, I'm not going to beg you. You gotta wanna come. And he left me. He said, "Be there tomorrow at 1 o'clock if you want to come." And the next day I was there at 1 o'clock and started talking to him about it, and they let me in the next day. He told me I had to stay out on the street another day. But
Where would your life be had he not been driving down the road that day?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. This place, the people who did want to help you, they appreciated that you were here and you were trying to help yourself. So without U.S. Vets, I don't know. I don't want to say something bad would happen to me, but I don't think it wouldn't have got better. It's something, you can't live on the street. I've had things happen to me on the street, and I've had things it's kind of dangerous out there.
It's very dangerous out there.
Yes.
And the whole idea of U.S. veterans for this program, U.S. Vets Initiative, nationwide, is how do we get the veterans off the street?
Yeah.
How do we get them away from that stereotype of homeless veterans when there's really no need for veterans to be homeless with a program like this?
Yes.
So, the best testimony is someone that has lived that life.
Yeah.
And so, if you were to reach out to another veteran that you saw walking by
Right.
on their bicycle with all the belongings they had in the world on that bicycle, would you stop and talk to that veteran? And
Yeah,
if you did,
yeah.
what would you say to them?
Well, that's just funny you should say that, because I just met a guy the other day, and he was in the Army, and he was talking to another guy. He was doing a religious study with another guy, and he mentioned that he was in Fort Leavenworth, and of course I know that's military. And I just talked to that guy, and he had like a hard attitude about it, because sometimes in the military you get the idea, once you get that training, you get the idea that nobody should help you because you got to stand your own. You got to be a strong soldier. You got to stand on your own. And I just talked to that guy, and he told me, he said, if you see me again, talk to me again, and he said, I'll be at the library, so I go by the library and I talk to him. I feel like a kindred to people who are in this position, because you don't want anybody to be in this position. I don't care if people tell you that, oh, I'm okay, but it's not okay. And you don't want anybody to be in this position. It's not good out there being homeless, not at all. Whenever I see somebody, I try to talk to them, try to help them. And I can remember myself, like I said, I spent over 5 years. And the first couple of years, there were times where people would come and talk to me, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you, I don't need any help. I'll be okay, But it's not the truth, When you get in that situation, it's just not good. And when it's time, you want somebody to be talking to you at that time. Like Burley, he was perfect timing for me.
Perfect time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I think so.
So the fact that, but it takes courage also to admit that you have a problem and to rise above it, and that's what you've done.
Yeah.
So what's your situation now?
Well, right now I'm working at Fresh and Easy.
Oh yeah, that's a great place.
Yeah, I've been working there since August now. And I really like my boss, and I really like what I'm doing. And I really appreciate having a job too, I mean, it's kind of, when you haven't had a job for a long time and you're working every day and you're doing your 40 hours, you kind of really appreciate it more. When you know what you didn't have and you lost it, and then you get it back, it's like, well, I don't want to lose this, it's really nice.
There it is. I don't want to lose this.
Yeah.
I want to live a better life.
Right.
And really the choice is up to you, to veteran.
Yeah.
Make the same choice you made.
Yeah.
Rise above it. Get the help you need.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Real pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.